Right, annoyingly, I filmed this once and it messed up halfway through. So, we're going to go again. And I'll warn you now, I do have a little bit of a discussion stroke rant to do at the start. Today we're going to be looking at the VFC PPQ M3, which is the second of the three pistols that HPA Airsoft in the UK just supplied me last week to do reviews with. But whilst I'm doing this, because it has been, I've got support on this video from a UK retailer. They haven't told me what to say, by the way, on any of these videos. They've just given me pistols and said, have a look at these and see what you think of them and put a review out. And so I'll tell you the good, the bad and the ugly. And as I filmed this once, I know what I'm going to find is rather ugly and what I'm going to find is rather good. But what I wanted to discuss first is there's been a lot of discussion lately about personal importation. Now, I understand that everyone wants to save some money, especially at the moment. The economy is not great at the minute and everyone's struggling. I am too. I think we all are in one way or another. But there are some things that I think need to be said, some things that need to be clarified, and so that you've got a fuller picture of things. So I understand doing personal imports. We've all done it. I still import some things personally myself, usually if no one in the UK has got it. However, I saw a discussion about, for example, the VFC PPSH, which over here retails at around 625 to 650 Great British pounds sterling. Now, ProAct, Action Airsoft Store in Taiwan, have got it for, I think it's about 350, 348 or something like that. So I thought, let's be interesting and get a quote for how much it ships, because people are directly comparing the 650 or 625 in the UK to the 350 from Taiwan, and it's not the whole picture. So I got a shipping quote from ProAct store for their £350 VFC PPSH, and the shipping quote was over £100. So that now takes our £350 PPSH to, I think it was about 455 or 460, something like that. Just between 455 and 470 anyway. So you have to add those totals together, and then you add duty on top. Now duty is around 3 to 5%. So if we say 3%, and then you take that total, so the gun, the shipping and the duty, and then you add 20% VAT on top of that. Now I understand that sometimes on personal imports you're lucky and you don't get duty and you don't get VAT, but every UK company has to pay duty and has to pay VAT because they're being legit, and they will always get their shipments stopped as a business import. So you cannot compare the VAT-free price that you might get to the VAT price that UK retailers have to by law charge, and if they don't, they will get imprisoned. And it brings the total of the PPSH from ProAct on the cheapest airmail option to just shy of £600. So you're saving about £25 to £30, £50 at the most. Now that is a saving. It is an absolute saving, but it's not as much as you might think. And when you think that if you have a problem with that product, I'm not saying that ProAct won't support you, but many Asian retailers don't support you the same way that a UK retailer has to. And also bear in mind that VFC grey imports don't get UK warranty. VFC UK stuff, their serial numbers do get recorded, and if you go to a shop and say, I bought this, and you try and claim something on warranty, you won't get warranty support in the UK for it. So if you don't get the shop support, was it worth saving that 30 quid? And that's if duty doesn't change, if the exchange rate doesn't change at the time, because this is based on today's exchange rate, which is the middle of August. exchange rates change all the time. Shipping rates change daily. I know this because I'm in importations. So shipping rates today that I got a quote for, I think it was £107. It might be £130 tomorrow, in which case your margin is gone. On top of that, so not only do you not save a lot and don't get the UK warranty support or the shop support, whatever support that you might get from a UK retailer. On top of that, there's another thing that I was reminded of the other day. So I've been airsofting now, or around airsoft, since 1990. So it's been 35 years as of last May. And I remember in 2005 when the VCRB got proposed by the then Labour government and the Home Secretary Hazel Blears. And this is vividly in my memory because I was digging around in the basement the other day and found the letter that I'd written to my MP when the bill got proposed, and the letter I got back, and the copy of the VCRB. And the Labour government at the time were determined not to give any defence for airsoft at all, and we had to actually lobby the opposition, and that's the reason we got a defence. I'm not saying the opposition are any better or worse at anything, but when it comes to guns and the VCRB at the time, Labour wanted to ban guns, and the opposition helped us get the defence. But the only reason the opposition helped us get a defence was because at the time, and still now to an extent, there was something called stakeholder status. So if you want to oppose a bill, you have to have stakeholder status. Now, end users don't have stakeholder status because our hobby isn't directly paying into the tax system and the economy of the UK. To get stakeholder status, it's businesses, essentially, people that are paying into the economy and the tax system. So it was UK retailers that managed to get the attention of the opposition and prove there was enough going into the economy to have stakeholder status to be important enough to earn a defence. Now, I'm not saying that there's imminent bans coming or anything like that, but we're back under a Labour government now, and they do like to ban things they don't like. Or a future Conservative or whoever government. If the retailers are gone because they can't compete in today's market and no one's supporting them, if another threat comes up like the VCRB, there will be no stakeholders to defend the sport, and we will lose it, or the hobby, or whatever. So just bear that in mind. Not only do you not necessarily save as much as you think you do, because people don't compare apples to apples, they don't compare the after VAT and shipping price, they compare the initial cost price before you put it in your basket, and that's not fair. But also, the UK retail industry, although some are good and some are not so good, will be the only ones that have a stakeholder status if another imminent threat comes in to airsoft. So just remember that, okay? Now that's over. I hope you understand a little bit more about personal importation. I do personal imports, everybody does, but I prefer to go to a UK retailer first because I know that I'm not saving as much. 35 years in, and I know I'm not saving as much as I think I am, because once the tax bill and shipping come in, it doesn't. And also I understand what would happen if those retailers weren't there, because I was there and I was in the lobbying group when the first threat came in 2005. So there we go. Anyway, on to the Walther PPQ. Apologies to international watchers, by the way, I know this has nothing to do with you. PPQ. So open the box. We've obviously done an unboxing before. So in the box we have the PPQ pistol wrapped in the usual VFC plastic bag. So we'll take the bag out and put the pistol aside. We have our usual Umarex destruction manual, which nobody bloody reads. We have an Umarex leaflet. I think it's basically a warning leaflet. No one reads that either today. And then we have a small tool in the box that I think is to help us adjust the hop-up unit. Let's have a quick look. That part we didn't check out on the first take of the video, so we will have a look. I think that's the hop-up adjustment tool, so we will have a look through. And yeah, there we go, it's the hop adjustment tool, because this actually has guide hop, amazingly. Now there is a newer model of the PP series from Walther, and it's the PDP, which is the latest generation of the P99, PPQ, etc, etc. I have asked High Pressure Airsoft if they can get me one. They're currently out of stock, and they said they will get me one when they come back in, so we can compare them directly to each other to see how the models have changed from Walther and how VFC have handled that change in the models. So looking at the pistol, we have our Walther markings, Walther PPQ. We've got the usual Walther mouldings. We do have a sticker here saying Max 1 Joule. That can be removed, so that's good. This side is all authentic with its markings and stuff. We've got this rice grain pattern grip, which actually does feel really nice. It grips rather well. On this side, we've still got another PPQ marking here, but then it starts to fall apart a little bit because we've then got the German Umarex F mark, which is to make it legal to import into Germany, and we've also got Kel 6mm BB, which is also a European requirement. So this is a European model, not an Asian model. On the chamber, we've got Walther 9x19. I think the magazine release can be swapped over. I've not tried it myself. We've got the serial number on the back strap here, on the rear of the frame here. And then we've got some markings on the back of the back strap too. I can't quite read them because of the light. It's, yeah, the original maker's markings, that's good. And if we cock it, we have a loaded chamber indicator. It's rather nice, and when we pull the trigger, you'll see that go dark. 3-dot sight arrangement, pretty common pistols of this era. It's an aluminium slide on a polymer frame. Obviously the real one will be a steel slide, but the polymer frame is accurate. If we press the, we've got the Ambi slide release slide lock, so we can lock and release the slide from either side, which is rather nice. We're going to release the slide, which on the first take I didn't get too clean, which is why the video actually messed up. So we have guide rod hop, which is cool. It's plastic guide rod with an aluminium alloy base to actually turn the hop unit. Now they do give you a tool, but you can turn it by hand, to be honest, so I wouldn't even bother with the tool. That's just me. Polymer frame, your hammer, everything in there. Trigger controls do appear to be some steel, some alloy. Do I have my magnet here, Andy? It's probably attached itself to something, that's the problem. Don't have it handy, but we have the trigger controls. If we then put the slide back on, this is where it all went wrong last time, and this time it's gone better, so there we go. It's attached itself properly. In the hopper we actually have a black hopper, but not the usual VFC blue. So we'll try the trigger. Trigger's got a little bit of slack, doesn't feel great to be honest. Then a firm wall, and then we continue to pull. A little bit mushy, and then a brake. The brake is relatively okay. The reset is plasticky and stagey, and then we've got a little bit of an audible reset, but not that tactile to be honest. And then re-brake. So I did put some gas in the magazine when I did the first take of the video. So if we put the magazine in, rack the slide, let the slide release forward, I'll hold that down and you can see the slide cycle. It's a nice loud report, very nice snappy slide action, and when on the final round, a very positive lock. Now bear in mind it's about 30 degrees today, so I was getting some false locks, but we shall have a look with a couple of rounds. Get some 0.28 gram BBs. I think I'm using Mad Balls currently. Still have some Mad Ball BBs lying around, which is amazing because they're really decent. So we'll insert the magazine with a slide opener in this case. Let the working parts forward with the slide release lever. Turn the chrono on and put it to my catch box. See, false lock. That's because it's so warm here today. 1.08 joule. 1.05 joule. 1.05 joule. 1 joule. 1 joule. So you're around about 1 joule. I was getting higher readings when I did the first take, but it's because I just freshly loaded it up with gas, and as I say, it's very, very warm in here today. So what I want to do is compare it to a similar pistol, another German pistol. This is my VP9, it's about 10 years old. It's first generation VP9 from VFC. You see some similarities there. The slide cuts are very similar. It's almost identical in length. The wrist rail on the bottom is actually a very similar styling, and the grips are very similar. Now the VP9 I think is the nicest feeling pistol I've ever picked up. It's got the best grip. You've got a very high grip on the pistol. You've got that ambi slide release, so that they are different. On this one, the left side's different to the right side, but that's because of the space. The takedown lever is different. This one does not have guide hop. I don't know if the new ones do. We do have a thread on the inner part of the outer barrel, which we do not on the PPQ. This is doing around 1 joule, and it is still very positive and locks open very nicely. They're very similar in styling though, but personally, and this is where we get down to preference, I love the VP9. I think it's a lovely looking pistol. I'm not a fan of the Walther, and it's just my personal choice. Although it's a great gas blowback pistol, great sidearm, it's just not one of my favourite styles of pistol. I never really liked the Walther P99 PPQ series. I would like to see what the PDP's like, because it's supposed to be a little bit nicer, so we'll see that one arrives. But out of the two, I would actually go for the VP9. I used to use this a lot. I haven't used it for a few years, but I used to use it a lot, and it's never let me down. But many people would prefer the PPQ over the VP9, and that's just your personal preference. Now the magazines are very similar. So they're both open front magazines. Oh, magazine release on the PPQ, it's a press button like you would expect. On the VP9, it's a downward lever. It's a very European release. They're both open fronted magazines. They're both of a similar size, same capacity. They both fill from the bottom, although this one's got a sticker over it, I know you can't see at the moment, which also has Walther PPQ. The VP9's got a glossier finish, and they drop free very nicely. One thing I did just notice inserting that magazine is it goes in and out really nicely from the pistol, and the VP9 is very similar. A little bit slower to come out, but still very nice to operate. VP9 does have the Dingus Glock style trigger safety, whereas the PPQ has an internal Dingus, as you can probably just about see there. Drop safety. I think PPQ triggers. So this one, a little bit of slack, hit the wall. Nice clean break. That's a cleaner break than the PPQ for sure. Reset, a little bit stagey, longer, and probably less tactile and less audible than the PPQ. So there's negatives and pluses to each one, and mine does have Umarex branding on it as well, unfortunately licensed trademark. But it's really down to what you prefer the look and feel of. They feel very similar, but I do prefer the VP9. A lot of people do love the PPQ series, the P99s, the PDPs. It's just not my favourite styling. But hopefully this helps you. So we got guide rod hop, nice snappy blowback, just over a joule in performance, and obviously we're getting some false locks today, but that's not too surprising. I just put gas in it and it's very warm. We were out in the sun filming the PPK video before that. I don't have the ability to run this for a longer period of time to see how it fares over time, because unfortunately it's got to go back. But hopefully you've enjoyed this. That's the PPQ video, and we have one more to do, which I'll do another day, from the box that was delivered by HPA last week. So we will have a look at that next time, and let's have a discussion in the comments. Let's talk again. I hope you didn't mind the rant too much. I just felt things needed to be said, because it's rather important that people understand the total cost and not just the purchase cost when ordering from abroad, and the possible consequences of doing so. Anyway, thanks again folks, speak to you soon.